Thank you, Lord Mayor. I rise to move the Conservative Group's motion today. As a council, we have a duty to do all we can to make the city safe. Sadly, over the last year, Birmingham has seen a concerning rise in serious crime. Whether it's possession of a knife, where the West Midlands is running at one of the highest levels in the country, at 13.2 instances per 10,000 people, compared to 8.5 in Manchester, or serious knife crime, where it's 165 instances per 100,000 residents, but just under 5,000 offences in 2024, compared to London at 185. Councillor Mackie looks at the rising crime in the city further when he seconds this motion. It is unprecedented, this rise in crime, which is why we've brought this motion today calling on the Council to declare a public safety emergency and adopt a series of action plan points to start trying to tackle these serious issues. I have to say, Lord Mayor, I hope that given the serious nature of this issue facing us today, that all parties can back this call, which does not seek to cast blame, but instead focuses on what we can all do, cross-party in this council, to try and protect residents. Given the seriousness of this is what residents would expect to see of all their councillors, them working together to take action, not playing petty party political games while people are placed at risk. That's why our motion avoids blame and instead focuses on the solutions that we can surely all agree together to try and keep our residents in this city safe. Lord Mayor, I'd like to read from the local paper, Birmingham Mail, which has highlighted some of the really serious instances over this last year. They said back on the 23rd of November, a new map can reveal the locations of Birmingham city centre stabbings after a woman was tragically killed in a horrific attack. Katie Fox, 34, was standing at the bus stop on Smallbrook Queensway when she was stabbed in the neck on November the 7th. She later died in hospital, the tragedy prompting fears for the safety of women and girls across the nation. Sadly, the knife attack, which sent shockwaves across the UK, is one of at least 8 unconnected stabbings reported in the city centre alone this year. It goes on to highlight 5 of those crimes have been in and around the Boring shopping centre. And you will have seen, for those who have looked at the issues on social media, a number of residents in Birmingham highlighting the issue around lack of lighting, particularly in the evenings, around that area in the city, and they need to tackle that to ensure that residents are safe, hence that being one of the points we include in the proposed action plan. Birmingham Mail went on to highlight how a boy, aged 17, was stabbed near to the landmark Bull statue in the heart of the city. The teenager was injured as trouble flared in the busy area at around 8 p.m. on Thursday, November the 13th. They go on to say that 2 men aged 22 and 18 had been bailed with strict conditions. And that also this month, a man was found with serious stab wounds on Clement Street in the early hours of November the 4th. And they highlight 2 instances in October as well. And we've talked in this chamber last month about the really serious videos that have circulated of people going around the city, firing fireworks at buses, firing fireworks at people walking down the street, at shops, at cars. That kind of outrageous behaviour places our citizens at risk, and we should be doing all we can to tackle it and ensure we protect Brummies. Some people will no doubt say that it is wrong to talk about the crime happening in the city, Lord Mayor, and that it's a false narrative that undermines public confidence. But let's be clear about what undermines public confidence in this city. It is serious crimes happening on our streets and the elected politicians refusing to do anything about it. That is why it's so important we brought this motion today. That is why it's so important that we all come together as a council to back this motion. What stops people, Lord Mayor, coming to the city for shopping, for the entertainment, choosing to live in the city centre, is those very videos of antisocial behaviour and crime happening in our city. What undermines public confidence is the public seeing those concerns dismissed. We must be clear, Lord Mayor, as a council chamber today, that downplaying serious crime, pretending these issues are false narratives, is dangerous, it's a mistake, and it fails the victims and the residents in our great city. That is why, Lord Mayor, it is a shame to see the amendment that's come forward from the Labour Group, and I hope perhaps the Cabinet member will reflect and perhaps change their amendment as we go through. Just to give some examples of what they're proposing today, The opening of our motion says that this council notes with grave concern the high incidence of violent and sexual offences in Birmingham and the horrific impact this has on victims and their families and friends. They want to delete with grave concern. I don't believe there's a single member from the Labour group in this chamber who doesn't share that grave concern that everyone else has for these instances. And I think it's astonishing that such words seek to be deleted from this amendment by the Labour group. They go on to say they want to delete the high incidences of these issues and replace it with that, downplaying the seriousness of this issue in our city. I don't think that, again, is actually something that Labour members in this chamber would really agree with. Going on further down, they look to delete the council declaring a public safety emergency in response to this emergency. And again, I think that's a real shame to see the administration seeking to downplay the concerns that residents have raised in the press and social media, the serious instances, the tragic events that we've seen in the city over the last year. And again, I hope the Labour group can perhaps reflect as they're speaking shortly, and the Cabinet member can perhaps remove some of these deletions that they're trying to propose onto the amendment. Again, Lord Mayor, it's disappointing to see the Cabinet member proposing deleting commissioning a cross-party High Street Safety Task Force. Again, a statement that merely calls for all the parties in the chamber to work together to ensure the city centre and our local centres are safe. And I don't think Labour backbench members really would disagree with that view either. Lord Mayor, this is a real serious issue that needs to be tackled. It needs to be tackled across this council, and that's why I ask members to reject the Labour amendment, support our motion, declare a public safety emergency and put residents in the city first. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Cllr Alden. Call upon Councillor